your mic, Mike.
Yes. Alrighty, we will go ahead and call the meeting of the Healthy Neighborhoods Advisory Committee to order for March 6th. And first step will be a motion to approve the last meeting's minutes.
So moved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, carried. Okay, I don't see any notifications for public appearances for non-agenda items, so I think we will move right into the agenda review. So tonight we're going to hear from some of the grant applicants, and we will have about 3 to 5 minutes per applicant for the presentations, and then immediately afterwards we will have maybe 5 or 6 minutes for questions if there are any. And we're going to try to keep, with the help of Deanna, we will try to keep a firm rein on the time constraints to make sure that everyone has the same amount of time and that all of us get out of here at a decent amount of time. Any of the longer questions that might take a little longer to answer, we can refer to Deanna, and staff will chase down the answers and hopefully get them back to us so we can incorporate that information as we go through the applications. So, all right.
I'll just jump in here. Is there any questions or concerns from the committee about the process or anything that we should touch base on? Okay. If you'll be so gracious, Chair, just as a little bit of a reminder, today is March 6th, and we are reviewing the grant applications. And the next step in our process for the grant schedule is the next important date is March 13th, and that's where the committee will have completed their scoring. That is, right now it's an online form. If you have any questions, any concerns, if something's not working, please reach out to me as quickly as possible. We're here to help and to make this as easy as a process as we possibly can. So each of the committee members will complete their own scoring of the applications using the online form. And then staff will collate that information from the committee members and prepare a referral based on that to council. And so council won't review on March 26th, but council will refer out the resolution to award the grants on March 26th. April 3rd, we will be back here as a committee to review and hopefully approve the slate of grants to be awarded in 2023. And then on the following week, on April 9th, is when we are scheduled for council review and approval of the proposed grant awards. So happy to help sort out if you have any concerns or questions. One of the things that has come up, and I'll just point this out in your packet, council has allocated $128,000 for the grant program in 2024. Staff does expect that there will be a little bit of additional funds that are rolling over from previous years. That might be approximately $10,000. So that's kind of what we're working with in terms of our ability to award grant funds this year. Yes.
Okay, I'm somewhat surprised by those numbers because if I'm looking at the 2024 grant log spreadsheet that was shared on SharePoint.
Yep.
And on the second tab where it says summary sheet, the total available seems to be 88,000.
My apologies.
Okay. All right.
There's different buckets of funds here.
Okay.
And so there are different buckets of funds, and the 88,000 is coming from one particular bucket of funds. I have some additional funds in other buckets.
Okay, wonderful.
So we're working with probably just right around $140,000 is what we're working with for this year. Just under $140,000 is what staff expects.
Very good. Thank you.
And
Could
just,
I jump in with a question?
yes, of course.
Just because I'm new to the process. So then I'm curious, is there ever an opportunity for the committee to dialogue about the decision, or is it mostly just sort of individually scoring
Okay.
and then approving?
Great question. Yes. So what we'll ask is you all to complete your scoring next week. Staff will put that together, and then our meeting, the committee's meeting on April 6th, right? April 3rd. That will be your opportunity to review, dialogue, make any final decisions at that particular point.
I have one more quick comment on the online form that we're supposed to submit evaluations on.
Sure.
Question 2 has only a few of the applications listed. It says, which application are you evaluating?
I got to fix that.
Cool. Awesome.
Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you for that catch. That form was put together before we had all the applications in. I will do that tomorrow. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, so I think we're ready for presentations. Looks like the order, okay, found it. Order number 1, Allied Food Pantry and Good Shepherd Lutheran Church. Do we have anyone here from there or online? Yes. Yes, by all means.
Hi, my name is Janice Ferguson. I'm a volunteer manager at the Allied Food Pantry, and I am here today to represent myself and 50 plus volunteers. We're a fully volunteer-run pantry and over 1,000 residents, unduplicated residents that we serve, will serve this year. Thank you. 500 of which would be from Fitchburg. Our project is called Building Community Through Food, and that means that we propose to provide community-based access to free, healthy, culturally inclusive food, and at the same time provide community-building opportunities. The next slide. So who is the Allied Food Pantry, past and present? So we are a small, community-based food pantry, fully volunteer-run. We have a 20-year history serving the Allied Duns Marsh neighborhood, but therefore in Fitchburg, where we've been serving Belmar on the Park in the majority of ways, but also we serve residents from West Verona and also Fitchattree Road areas. We've been leasing a small space in the Boys and Girls Club since 2006, and we're open every Wednesday morning from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. and in the evening from 6 to 7:30. This year, we've been working really hard in partnership with Second Harvest Food Bank and the Boys and Girls Club to expand our capacity, and we have done so exponentially, and now we're serving approximately 80 families or 300 people a week, or 200 unduplicated households per month, and this has enabled us also to have to triple our budget. And in grant terms, that means that we are serving over 600 unduplicated adults a year, or 400 unduplicated children, and 400 unduplicated children a year, half of which come from Fitchburg. So how do we know that we needed to build capacity? So last fall, the Allied Food Pantry hosted an Allied Food Collaborative, a grouping of people in the neighborhood that were invested in food security. So we had people in September who met together to identify the neighborhood needs. to identify barriers, to identify opportunities, and to identify our existing resources. And those folks came from the Boys and Girls Club, they came from Badger Prairie Needs Network, they came from Second Harvest, Public Health, Madison-Dane County, alders, all were present in the room, and we tried to identify, what are the opportunities here. We identified 10 different needs, and the Allied Food Pantry, in collaboration with other partners, took on 4 of those needs. And those needs were to increase access to fresh, healthy, well-balanced, culturally inclusive food. It was to increase access to household essentials, which is not part of this grant. It was to increase resident access to information about food resources and other social determinants of health, and to continue to assess what residents really need so that we actually grow smart and we understand what people need and want. Next slide. So who are we serving? So we are serving primarily the area of Fitchburg called Belmar on the Park, but we also see residents from Verona Road West and North Fish Hatchery Road. Who are our residents? Who comes to the pantry? 50% of the folks who come to the pantry are walkers. The other 50 drive. 50% of our pantry guests are Fitchburg residents, 50 plus. You know that the Allied Duns Marsh neighborhood is has really interesting borders, and half of it is Madison and half of it is Fitchburg. 80% of our families are Spanish speakers. We also serve African American families who've come from Algeria, Afghanistan, Laos, Thailand, and other immigrant families. And 100% of our families who come to the pantry have other additional needs related to their social determinants of health. The next slide. So, growth requires financial sustainability. So this year we really tried to grow with the funds that we had and with the resources that we had identified in that September meeting. What resources did we already have? So we tried to expand and grow through adding additional space. The Boys and Girls Club partnered with us to give us additional space. They helped us redesign our space so that we used it now mainly for storage of food, and then we move our entire pantry into the gymnasium. And that allows us to provide a respectful space for our residents. It also allows us to bring in community partnerships into that pantry every week. We also worked with Second Harvest Food Bank to get better delivery times so that we can get our cold storage food delivered the day of the pantry. We don't have a lot of storage, so now we get all of our fresh produce and all of our meat, milk, and eggs on the day of the pantry day so that we can serve that many people since we don't have a lot of storage. So we tried to be smart, and we also are trying to be culturally inclusive. We want to ask our families, what is it that you need? What is it the food that you want? Some of the foods that they want, of course, we can get free from Second Harvest. A lot of our eggs, milk, fresh produce, that's what families want. But there's many other items that cost money and are hard to get on Second Harvest, hard to get for free. And because we're a small pantry, we have less food recovery options and partnerships with other grocery stores because it requires storage and timeliness. But the culturally inclusive food that our families want are things like long grain rice, lentils, dried beans, Moderna pasta and soups, rice noodles, chili, canned chilies, queso fresco, sour cream, plain yogurt, white corn flour, yucca, plantains, and halal meat. So those things all cost money.
We're going to have you wrap up as soon as you can.
Yeah. So the ask that we have today is for an $8,000 ask. Our budget this year for food at a minimum is about $20,000. We have secured a $12,000 grant from Good Shepherd Foundation, and we have $2,000 grant from the Allied Wellness Center. The next slide. And for building the community through food, our neighborhood doesn't have a lot of access to a drop-in place where they can access other community resources. So we've partnered closely with the Allied Wellness Center, and our community health workers and our JFF social worker attend the pantry every week. And this is how we also get to know our families. We allow our families to gather in a comfortable, respectful environment, offer them coffee and homemade muffins every week. We also share information about healthy food, recipes, samples. We've had FoodWise doing tabling and sampling of food. at the pantry. And they're also able to access resources and address other social determinants of health. We had the Marlborough Gardens come today to allow our families to understand about gardening opportunities. We had Covering Wisconsin there today to talk about health insurance possibilities. But we've had the Fitchburg Senior Center, Newbridge, Planned Parenthood, and Metro Transit is coming soon. Our outcomes would be measured by how many families we serve. We would do a satisfaction survey about how happy families are with our service, but also we would give you information about the community resources we bring to the pantry and the foods that we were able to provide. Thank you, and I would love to receive any questions.
We only have a couple minutes for questions.
Thank you. Sorry about the going over.
Do we have any?
I don't, anyone? No? Okay.
I have a super quick question.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
the money for this particular grant is being requested mostly to purchase those foods that you mentioned, those cultural.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Wonderful. The services or the presentations that you mentioned of providers coming in
Yeah.
and making presentations, are those usually like free, or do you have to pay a fee to the speaker, or?
Yeah, and the people that come in aren't really presenting, they're more embedded into the pantry and they're offering resources. So today the garden brought free seeds for families, the opportunity to register to get a plot at the garden, and brought pictures so people would understand what the garden was about. And Covering Wisconsin consulted that today with 5 different families to help them explore possibilities for health insurance. And they all come, it's all in kind. And so
Okay.
it's really us volunteers that are reaching out, both based on knowledge from our community health workers about what families need, what things should be in the space, and then also just direct input from families about what they need. Yeah. So Covering Wisconsin came today because we had families who said, we don't have health insurance, we don't know how to get care. Yeah.
Right.
Good question. Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the list is Badger Prairie Needs Network.
Thank you. I'm Tracy Burton, and I'm the Food Pantry Director for Badger Prairie Needs Network. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to present to you today. And am I going to be, yeah, my slides are ahead of me. Okay. It was really nice to see the list of people that were applying for grants, because so many of them are people that we partner with, and agencies that we partner with, from Allied Food Pantry, Boys and Girls Clubs, The River, Second Harvest, Latino Academy. And so it's nice to be among those people. A little bit about Badger Prairie, if you could advance. Thank you. We were founded in 1986. We operate out of Verona, and we are 100% volunteer. We had 1,000 different volunteers work with us last year. And the fact that we're 100% volunteer means that all of the money that comes to us either keeps the lights on or is putting food in people's mouths. Last year, we distributed 2 million pounds of food to our pantry guests, which is the equivalent of 1.7 million meals. We had 82,000 cumulative visits. And of those visits, 38% were Fitchburg residents. So we are hitting a lot of people from Fitchburg. We're the closest, what we call grocery store style choice pantry to the Fitchburg city. And of the Fitchburg residents that we served, 83% are from the four priority neighborhoods, and we hit all 4 of those neighborhoods. As Janice mentioned, a lot of our customers are Spanish speaking, and we serve a lot of children. Next slide, please. Our project this year that we're applying for is called Healthy Solutions for Ending Hunger. We are asking for $15,000, which is approximately 2% of our food budget. Our food budget this year is $450,000. And so this will make a dent in that. And the program area that we're addressing is the food security area. Next slide, please. As you can see on the slide, we do serve all 4 neighborhoods, and I have broken them down by the number of residents that were served last year in those neighborhoods. We do expect to increase. Over the past 2 years, we've increased by over 300% on the number of people that we're serving, and we're expecting not similar growth this year, but still continued sustained growth. And so I've broken down the grant request by the priority neighborhoods. Next slide, please. The project overview really is 2 segments. One is to address food security, and we try to provide as healthy of foods as we can, focusing on fresh food, fresh produce, dairy, meats, and provide those to our guests so that they have a healthy diet. We are also striving to provide culturally familiar food. Just because you deliver food doesn't mean that the people will eat it. And so we have found that cultural foods go hand in hand with healthy eating, and when we provide those culturally familiar foods, that they can lead to better health outcomes for the people that we're serving. So we are striving to provide things like masa, halal chicken, hot sauce, dry beans, mostly really healthy foods, but there are things that we have to pay for that we don't get for free from our food bank partners. Next slide, please. The outcomes that we predict are hoping for is at least a 20% growth of Fitchburg residents served, and 85% of those being served being in the priority neighborhoods. And we strive to provide those culturally familiar foods as our customers are requesting and as we're finding out through surveys and interviews. So that is my request, and I am open to any questions.
Okay, doesn't sound like we have any.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just looking through my spreadsheet of previous grant recipients, and it looks like last year you also applied a couple of other times as well. Is this request pretty similar to your past requests, or is this like a new program? Or
The thing that's different about this request is the culturally familiar foods. We've consistently asked for money for food, and the difference in this request is that about a third of the money would be spent specifically on those culturally familiar foods.
I have one other question. Okay. You mentioned that you were expecting a 20% increase in the number of Fitchburg residents that you would be serving, in this year, I guess from April 2024 to March-ish 2025. Is that expected growth with or without the funding, or is that like growth expected because of the funding, if that question makes sense?
It makes sense. We're going to serve everybody that comes to us, whether you fund us or not, and we find the money. And we always have. We've never turned anybody away. This year, the growth was just unprecedented, and yet the communities that we serve raised to the occasion. Plus, we found ways to get more free food, which is always a real benefit to us. But we always find ways to get what we need. But yet the Fitchburg Healthy Neighborhood Initiative has helped us meet that demand, and it's something that we really appreciate. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay. Number 3, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Dane County.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, thanks for the invitation. Happy to be here. Great. So yeah, Big Brothers Big Sisters is a one-to-one mentoring organization. We match volunteer adults with youth in the community who are seeking an additional mentor in their corner, an adult who is trying to understand them and connect with them. And Big Brothers Big Sisters is a nationwide organization. There's over 500 affiliates. My name's Simon. I'm the program director at Big Brothers Big Sisters of Dane County. I've been there for about 6 years now. The agency was founded in 1966. And yeah, next slide, please. So yeah, these are the priority neighborhoods that we aim to serve with the hopeful receiving of the Fitchburg grant. I highlighted these areas here, and those kind of blue and yellow dots there represent different matches that we've served in the past. With the additional benefit of a recruiter, we added her in September 2022. She's able to really be put in positions that we really need additional mentors. So we're able to kind of track and see where we're getting a bunch of applications on the side of the youth, or the littles as we call them in the program. And if we see an uptick in a certain area, we can kind of deploy our volunteer recruiter and really try and hit some common areas where we hope to find some more mentors. And yeah, we match youth between the ages of 6 to 13 typically, and we accept volunteers from the ages 18 and up. They need to pass a background check, reference check, in-person interview, and a full kind of enrollment process there. So. Yeah, so our project is to basically match more kids. Currently we have around 160 youth on the wait list. That's not specific for Fitchburg, that's across Dane County. We have around 40 volunteers in the pool. So it's the ongoing game of trying to match youth with volunteers. We're always trying to get more volunteers in the door. And with the receiving of this grant, we think that we can do that. We've kind of categorized these into 4 main buckets here. So trying to reduce the wait time, so not only are we matching the youth, but hopefully they're waiting less on average. We've been able to match the Fitchburg kids historically quicker, 117 days versus the 191 that you see there. The Priority Network caregivers are very engaged in the program, and they want to sign their youth up a little bit earlier than the average age of youth in the program. We've been able to re-establish our School Friends program at Wright Middle School, and there's a couple of kids who within the Fitchburg service area that attend Wright. That wasn't our intention, but that was a very happy coincidence. And like I said, the commitment level of the Fitchburg families is really high as well. So not only are they signing up one kid, but they might be signing up multiple in the same household. The volunteers that are also from the Fitchburg area are taking advantage of the over 30 events that we offer every year and taking youth to, things like Boulders Climbing Gym or, Vitense Golf, things like that, where we try and host events, on a two a month for different opportunities for matches to really connect and see other matches in the program as well. The Yoast Coast data, that stands for Youth Outcomes Survey and Child Outcomes Survey. Every youth in the program has to complete a baseline survey. These surveys were developed by experts in the national office, psychologists, social workers across network. That's part of the benefit of being one of many different agencies across the country. This is a standardized survey. 10 and under take the child outcome survey, 11 and older take the youth outcome survey. They measure the same metrics, and you can kind of see some of the highlighted pieces here as well. In the system, we do tag the grant recipients so that we can really fine-tune to specifically highlight the points with Fitchburg matches in particular versus the agency as a whole. But the Youth Outcomes Survey does a lot of heavy lifting at the agency, but there's other surveys available, like the Strengths of Relationship Survey. So while the Youth Outcomes Survey measures stuff specifically for the youth, attitudes towards school, family, peers, emotions, pieces like that. The Strength of Relationship Survey is specifically on how well the volunteer and the little are doing together. So we can kind of troubleshoot things as they come up, but also measure some data on, how long it takes for youth to feel connected with their mentor. So, lots of measurables. Next slide, please. Yeah. We are hoping to continue retaining as many matches with the Fitchburg grant as we can. Currently, that's at 28 previous recipients, and hope to add an additional 14 new matches. Thank you.
Okay. Any questions? I guess I have one, only just for clarification. So the funds that you're requesting are going to be used to do what specifically?
Yeah, to make 14 new matches and support the current 28 number of matches.
Right.
But, we can, if we meet those metrics, we can continue making more matches and serving more kids ultimately, and designate some of those funds to some of the events as well.
Sure.
To retain matches.
That information was in the application. I just momentarily couldn't remember exactly what it was. So thank you very much for reminding me.
No problem.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what you're doing to recruit more bigs? You mentioned hiring a volunteer recruiter in 2022, and can you tell me more about what that position is doing?
Great question. Hopefully people have seen us on the news a little bit more recently. We've done a lot of outreach. We've just almost come to the conclusion of a campaign, it takes little to be big. One of the biggest contributors of why people say, I don't think that volunteer opportunity is for me, is because they think that it is too much of a commitment. And we're really trying to reframe that conversation of like, look, this isn't a multi-year, multi-hour, financial commitment. This is taking a kid every couple of weeks to go get ice cream, play basketball, or grab a slice of pizza. And that, over a long period of time, really grows into a solid mentoring relationship. And that is the It Takes Little to Be Big campaign, which Tracy has been leading. We set the goal to get 100 inquiries in a month and a half. We're almost there. We're at 91 inquiries, and we've still got a couple of weeks to go. So a lot of media, social media, but then also targeted like trivia nights, fundraisers, tabling events, a lot of the more traditional kind of volunteer recruitment things, but also, just kind of fun events around town as well.
I was looking back. Sorry, I have another question. Okay. So I was looking back at some of the past year applications, and it looks like this is a kind of regular request to have $15,000 to increase marketing and recruitment, or let's see, it says to strengthen the big little matches or to get more bigs. How can you speak a little bit more specifically to how, I guess, I'm struggling to form the question. What I want to say is, I was wondering if this is more of an ongoing kind of funding challenge as opposed to a one-time funding situation, which, either way, we've got the, grant here for it. But I'm wondering which one it kind of is. Does that question kind of make sense?
Yeah, let me just clarify. So,
Please do. Yeah.
Is this a continuation or more of a need? Is that correct? Or growth?
Yeah. I think that's a great way to phrase the question. Yes.
I'd say it lends itself more to modest growth, leaning towards continuation of current activities. The growth goals that we've set feel very much within range. We try and make around 14 new matches a month across the county, so 14 in a year in a specific area we feel pretty optimistic about, especially if parents, like I say, are engaged in trying to sign up more and more children in the same household. So a continuation with modest growth goals.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, Boys and Girls Clubs of Dane County.
Coughing. Anthony here is going to take over because I know we have limited time for the presentation. My name is Tiffany Loomis, and I'm the Senior Vice President of Operations for the Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. And we're here today to talk about the needs of the community. And our mission is to inspire and empower all young people, those especially that need us most, to be productive, responsible, and caring adults. We serve youth ages 2.5 to 24 in various programs throughout Boys and Girls Club of Dane County. Last year, we were able to serve over 5,000 youth and families with the help of funding like the Fitchburg grant, amongst other supports that we get. Our club-based programs are to provide innovative programs for our youth. They're designed to empower our youth to excel in school, become good citizens, and to lead healthy, productive lives. We accomplish this through Boys and Girls Club program initiatives, and with the focus today is really on the health and wellness aspect. The City of Fitchburg Healthy Neighborhood Initiative is designed to formulate and implement a strategic, collaborative, and holistic approach to address the specific issues, and our focus is the Allied Food Security Program. Our project priority focus is the Belmar residents on the Park neighborhood, where we intend to serve over 225 unduplicated Fitchburg residents. We are requesting $15,000 to assist with moving this project forward. We intend to leverage the City of Fitchburg funding to fill the gap so we can continue to provide fresh produce and meals to overall Fitchburg community through various many ways. We provide daily homemade meals to our members every day within our center. We host an annual back to school event that is not only exclusive to our members, but it is open to the community to learn more about our resources and offerings at the club, which includes that healthy meal every day. We host meals and support. We want to continue to support our community who has a monthly community meal. We're asking to use these funds to support 2 of those events as a Boys and Girls Club support. We host our annual Give Thanks event where we serve hundreds of people every year. This last year, we were actually able to bring this meal back to being in person. And it serves the residents in the priority neighborhood. This next academic year, we're entering a partnership with Verona Area School District where we're opening our first 4K program. So we will have a younger age group within our center every day during the academic year. And this funding will help offset the cost of those snacks and meals that we'll be providing those youth and families. We want to be able to continue to support our food pantry growth, which Janice talked about, through collaboration, continue to seek support and funding, and our strong partnership. Our largest supporter of our food security programs currently is Second Harvest within our program. In 2023, our organization did see substantial growth in the food security programs at our club. The Allied Food Pantry is in our building. They've expanded tremendously, outgrowing the space, using our gymnasium like Janice had talked about before. There has been rapid growth in numbers of individuals and families attending the food pantry. We were able to support the Allied Fresh program as a match investment to make sure that that program was able to continue as well as expand their services. Like I said before, for the first time since COVID, we were able to open our doors for our Give Thanks holiday meal, where we served over 500 people through that initiative, ensuring that they had meals during the holiday. In assuring success and outcomes, we plan to implement the following. We're going to serve food security needs to our youth members and families every day within our program in the community. Like I said before, our goal is to serve 225 unduplicated Fitchburg residents. We will be making our food preference survey available to community partners and solicit ideas of food items that we would like to distribute to the community members by June. We will continue to partner with school districts, food pantries, and other community organizations to work together to assess the community needs. We will collaborate with at least 3 new or current partners for community meal distribution as well. This is something that we work on frequently in building strong partners and volunteer bases. I want to thank everyone today for allowing us to be here and advocate on behalf of our youth.
All right, thank you. Any questions? I don't hear any. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. All right, Catholic Multicultural Center is next up.
Good evening. Sorry, I don't have any visuals for you. You're going to be forced to watch me, I guess. My name's Steve Maurice. I'm the director at the Catholic Multicultural Center. And the CMC has served South Madison for over 75 years. And in 2016, we opened a second location here in Fitchburg in the Verona Road West Priority neighborhood. CMC has provided a variety of programs that meet basic needs and help families develop self-sufficiency. And as our name suggests, we serve a large segment of the immigrant population. Last year, we assisted households from 75 different countries of origin. And our Fitchburg location was initially developed as a food service job training site. But now we are looking to expand the programming there to better serve the neighborhood. And so our proposal is titled Advancing Education and Food Security for Immigrants, and sort of focusing on those 2 areas of food security, which I know you've already heard from other organizations about the large demand and increase in need in food pantries. The CMC food pantry serves 75% of the households that we serve are immigrant households from, again, like I said, from all over. And we just have seen a huge increase, and we're pretty much nearing capacity in our ability to serve. One of the unique aspects of our food pantry is we allow people to come weekly to the food pantry, and the numbers have just increased to the point where it's becoming difficult for us to be able to serve everybody each week. And so the funds are going to help us better serve the folks coming from the neighborhoods, the North Fish Hatchery and the Southdale neighborhoods that are coming to the food pantry, and also to increase the diversity of food to healthy food and food that is culturally appropriate. And then sort of the education side at our Fitchburg location, we started English classes, serving one English class this past fall, and the numbers for that, it filled up almost immediately. That neighborhood is really underserved in some of those community resources, and English classes being one of them. And the apartments right across the street on Anton Drive from our facility have many immigrant families, and there's a big need. And so we heard from many students that, you know, having an English class right in their neighborhood that was convenient at a convenient time for them was allowed them to attend the class where they might not otherwise have been able to attend an English class. And so we're looking to expand our English class offerings there to increase the number of classes and be able to serve more individuals in those classes. And so, yeah, generally the outcome is going to be to have better food security, better access to food that's culturally appropriate, and for residents to have access to those English classes and enabling them to improve their employability and community engagement to be less isolated. And I'm happy to take questions.
I want to clarify something. So it sounds like the food pantry portion of the grant would serve the North Fish Hatchery Road and Southdale neighborhoods, and then the English classes are for Verona Road West. Is that?
That's, yeah, primarily.
Okay.
I mean, we're not going to turn anybody away from, but those are generally because of where our food pantry is located. It's primarily those two neighborhoods.
Okay.
Are in close proximity, and our English classes at the Fitchburg location are right in the Verona Road West neighborhood.
So for the English classes, can you tell me a little bit more about what the financial request is around? Like, is there food at the event, or like what?
Sure.
Yeah.
It's primarily for materials and some staff time to coordinate the expansion of the program. There's the classroom or the conference room that we're using there wasn't initially designed for this type of classroom, and so we have some adjustments to make, just whiteboards and things to put into the room. Also, the lighting in the parking lot and along the building isn't the greatest, so there needs to be some sort of safety upgrades to be able to better serve the folks coming.
I have a question. This might be a dumb question because probably wasn't listening well. But for expansion of classes, how many classes do you see like expanding? Would it be just double of 2, 3, 4?
Well, probably at least 2 to 3. I think right now we're having a class on Monday and Wednesday evenings, so I foresee expanding to at least another Tuesday and Thursday class, and then potentially a weekend class too, like a Saturday class.
Thank you.
Okay. Don't hear any other questions. Okay, great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, up next, Centro Hispano of Dane County. We have somebody online for that. Welcome.
Hi, can you hear me? Oh, wonderful. So my name is Karen Collar. I am the Executive Director of Centro Hispano of Dane County, an organization that's been working the Dane County community to strengthen Latinx youth and families for roughly 40 years. I think many people know we're at a time where we're growing as an organization. We see roughly around 7,000 individuals a year, run cohorts of about 300 youth. And over the last 10 years, we've strengthened our capacity. And we intentionally decided to apply for the first time to this funding request because we want to be intentional about increasing our outreach and connection to Fitchburg. We see a number of young people and families that are from the Fitchburg area, more so North Fitch Hatchery and Verona Road. But we want to make sure that we are as present as possible in terms of our middle school programming as well. So this proposal is for Juventuras, which is our middle school program that is based here at Centro. It has grown over the last 2-3 years. And really the purpose is to provide a space for young people to have social and emotional enrichment. There are a number of activities that kids do out in the community, neighborhood scans. They do activities in partnership with the Lucier Heritage Center and the Bike Federation. But I think really the secret sauce of the work that we do at Centro is how we establish relationships. 95% of our staff is from the community. I grew up in neighborhoods just like South Madison and Fitchburg, and we want to make sure be intentional in reaching out to kids that oftentimes don't have the access to after-school programming or summertime programming, because they just don't feel as connected. Our community feels incredibly isolated, and we're really committed to breaking a lot of those barriers. In terms of project outcomes, we want to double the number of kids that we see in Fitchburg this summer. We want to maintain our high retention rates that we have for school-based and summer programming activities at Centro. And we want to make sure that we share the stories of our impact, the sense of belonging, connectedness, and pride that our kids feel. And we want to share those stories back with you. We know there are a lot of initiatives under the new mayor to try to expand housing, youth work, and all sorts of other family-centered supports. And I think this is a good time for us to do things even more deeply so we can share that. If I have a few minutes, Alondra Quechol Ramirez, who is our incredible youth programs manager, is here, and I just wanted her to share a little bit about the impact that Centro's had in her life. So,
Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can see and hear me. Yeah, I echo everything that Karen has mentioned. I do want to also state that it's known that the transition from middle school to high school is a huge impact on students. And right now we're focusing too on having Juventuras, where students get to put into practice their emotions, put into practice, what it means to be authentic as their brain keeps developing, understanding who they are in the world, and they start to really sense that communication and center, being around other students around their age, learning about their own culture. And that's what Juventuras does as well. And again, I echo what Karen has mentioned. We want to expand a little bit more. We're only knowing and seeing that there's more and more youth, newcomers as well, that may or may not only speak Spanish, and we provide bilingual services here at Centro Hispano. So I'm very eager to, continue to seeing that every summer. This is the only time where we have Dane County's youth come around from different schools, and they get to also extend to see different students around the area, and not just particularly from the particular schools. So we, like Karen has mentioned, we want to be able to fulfill what students don't learn on a daily basis at school, have that connection of having the students at an earlier age, as middle school right now is our early program at Centro Hispano, where we house Juventuras and also feel connected to other students. So they make sure that they don't feel alone. They can also explore their culture, identity, and, have ease as they transition and knowing that they're connected to other students who can resemble in common or similar connections that way too. Thank you.
So we'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions? Ari?
I was just looking through your, reminding myself of your application, and there was a sentence in there, serving 16 youth within these areas and 24 youth outside of them. So I just wanted to kind of clarify the funding that you're requesting is going to this really wonderful sounding program, and the youth that the program is serving, are they, I want to make sure, I want to see, is the funding going towards youth outside of the priority neighborhoods as well as youth inside the priority neighborhoods? Can you clarify that?
Yeah, the total number that's in the grant is our goal for this summer in Juventuras. If you can see in the budget, the cost of the program is far more than what we're requesting, but we would like to double the number of kids that we're seeing in Fitchburg. So the expenses would be covered with some of the activities that we're going to be utilizing the funds for. In terms of personnel and all those other pieces, we're going to be covering that. But it would be for the kids that are taking part in Juventuras. And like Alondra said, part of the beauty of the program is that the benefit is peer-to-peer engagement. So the kids that are from Fitchburg would be interacting with other kids here in other Madison middle schools as well.
Okay, sounds, Caitlin?
Yeah, so thank you so much for your presentation. I am just wondering what does your outreach look like in order to really sort of intentionally bring in youth from the priority neighborhoods? How are you making those connections to really bring youth in?
I'll speak to that first if you want, Alo.
For sure.
So our coordinators are really the source of connection. We've grown a lot over the last 10 years at Centro in terms of the capacity that we have now to actually intentionally focus on summer programming here. Each of the coordinators has links with different schools in the area. And I think now we're at the point with Alondra's leadership where we can intentionally make connections with some of the neighborhood spaces where the kids would be feeding into the middle schools that we work with. I know a goal for us is even strengthening the connection with Leopold, which is very close. And I think, we have a coordinator that's helping us even do some community engagement, volunteer engagement, and she's strengthening some of the relationships that we have with the area in Fitchburg so that we can make sure to bring in the kids that would benefit from this. But I think by and large, the strength of Centro is word of mouth too. So connecting with the kids that enrolled in Juventuras last year, making sure that they're able to help us spread the word, and we will actually have the capacity to host a larger number of kids with some of these funds. I think that would be a strong benefit too. But I am excited about where this could lead, and I'm hopeful that we can continue to do more work. So in the future, we might be able to come back and ask for a larger chunk of money as our program deepens. I don't know if you wanted that.
I mean, yeah, like what Karen has mentioned, students have gone already 2 years in the program and then they're at their last. They also help in recruitment with, letting other relatives know, family members know, hey, look, if you don't have anything for the summer, there's Juventuras. And that's really an interesting and nice way to connect with youth. We notice that some students sometimes have, summer school, but then we look at those that don't. And it's a better way to have the kids up and moving in the summer than just staying there for 3-4 hours at home on their tablets, not really engaging, putting, their social skills into practice. And like I said, this middle school age is very critical for their social development and their emotional development. Hormones are changing, they're getting exposed to the real world out there. So in Centro, we also have that connection of learning about our mental health. And right now, Juventuras is our earliest age range right now that we look at. So we want to extend to Fitchburg area for that reason, to make sure that students aren't left out in that particular area, but to also know like, hey, look, you can also make friends in different areas. And students just keep coming around and saying, hey, look, I took this program. It was very fun. We went canoeing. We went, we do snack making here in the kitchen on a very hot day. We do a lot. So they're up and moving. And it's just a beautiful time, too, to let youth be youth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. So you talked about the relationship building. And so one of the things I was wondering was outside of students coming into your building, is there any opportunity to be out into like those Fitchburg neighborhoods or those neighborhoods serving for this grant? Something like Parks Alive program obviously does programming all throughout the summer. Is there any opportunities to be like engaged in that? Just continue like that building. And I know it doesn't necessarily translate 100% with having kids come back into your building, but like you said, just thinking about for the future.
Yeah, no, I think, the beauty of Juventud, so I don't know if people are as aware, but by and large, the Latinx community feels, I would say, pretty isolated. And that includes our young people. And so the beauty of Juventuras is that it's not meant to be indoors. It's meant to be in the neighborhoods. Kids will go bike ride everywhere. They'll take part in events like the ones that you're mentioning. They're already organically connecting. I think our purpose of coming and asking for the $4,000 is to intentionally say that we want to make a clearer link with Fitchburg. We want to come back and share some of these stories from the kids as they're out in the neighborhoods. What are their viewpoints about their neighborhoods? How are they affecting who they are as young people as they transition at this key time? So, I think our hope is to continue to always do middle school programming in the summers at Centro and continue to grow that. And we want to do more of it intentionally knowing that there's funding that says we want to engage with the kids in Fitchburg that we may not be reaching right now even more.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? See any? Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Next up, Just Dane and Allied Dunsmarsh Neighborhood Association.
Hello. Should I begin? Okay. You can go to the next slide. I'll introduce myself first. I'm Sonia Heikel. I am a Fitchburg resident, and I'm the secretary of the Allied Dunsmarsh Neighborhood Association. And I'm here representing the other people that are involved in this effort. So Linda Ketchum is shown here in the middle. She kind of represents Just Dane. They are our fiscal agent, and they have been our fiscal agent for many, many years, and they waive all administrative expenditures to keep track of our finances and cut our checks and things like that. And then Katie Ferrens is our vice president right now, and she is a Madison resident. I'm also not showing some of the other folks on our board because just Katie and I are probably the ones that are going to be most involved. The other members of the board are somewhat limited with mobility and are older. And that's a little bit of why we're doing this. So next slide. So the Allied Dunsmarsh Neighborhood Association has been active for over 20 years in the Allied and Dunsmarsh area, which kind of also includes the Belmar part of Fitchburg. We are 100% volunteer, grassroots. Our 2023 total expenditures were $2,220. So this grant that we're asking for would be a substantial portion and would allow us to reach a lot more. We mainly focus on neighborhood sort of gathering and community building sorts of events, as are shown here, but we've also been involved in vote gathering, in advocating for the neighborhood. So, for example, in trying to prevent liquor stores from moving in, or advocating for more lighting. There have been some recent crime and shots fired events, so we work closely with the City of Madison and the City of Fitchburg in the aftermath of those. Next slide. So this particular project is, we're calling it the Neighborhood Association Promotion and Community Building, and we're asking for $1,970. Next slide. And we are focusing on the Allied Duns Marsh Neighborhood Association. Our boundary includes both Madison and Fitchburg, so I've kind of highlighted the Belmar portion, and I'm not sure what the Renaissance on the Park name comes from, but I usually call the other part of the neighborhood that's closer to Verona Road Chalet Gardens, because that's the big apartment complex over there. So we have people, from both of those areas that come to our events. I would say most of the people that come to our events are not coming from the single-family homes. I'd say most of them are, most of the people that come to our events live on Allied Drive or live in one of the apartment complexes and in the Belmar and Chalet Gardens area. Next slide. So, yeah, go ahead, next slide. Just real briefly, we want to increase our promotion and awareness of the Neighborhood Association. Right now, we just have 130 people on our email list, and that's how we get the word out, along with these yard signs and trying to work with the Boys and Girls Club and the Allied Wellness, Allied Food Pantry and Allied Wellness to get the word out. But we don't really have our own dedicated website or promotion. But we're not asking for any funds for that. That's just on us. Next slide. Then the other objective is just try out new forms of communication. So we've done newsletters in the past. They've been hand distributed by volunteers, but that hasn't always gone successfully because those volunteers were teenagers and flyers were found strewn about the street. And so we want to actually have something mailed. We'd like to try a text messaging service, which is something that the Allied Fresh has done successfully. And then we'd like to, actually ask residents how they'd like, what kinds of services and things they would most benefit from, and also just figure out what's the best way to reach our residents. Next slide. We'd like to get some ideas on on activities and events that build community at events. So in the past, I think our events have been, we have a very diverse neighborhood, and people, the Latinx community, they all know each other and they talk to each other. The African American community, they all know each other and talk to each other. The white community, they mainly talk to each other. So we'd like to bridge those, bridge across cultures, make people get to know each other and feel comfortable with each other. So we'd like some ideas for, how to do this, facilitated team building type things. Next slide. And then finally, our outcomes are we're hoping for increased attendance at services in the neighborhood, increased attendance at neighborhood events, increased participation in leadership. As I mentioned, 2 of our leaders are seniors and have limited mobility. And so we'd like to have more young, fresh blood that are more active and engaged, and just a better understanding of how to reach our residents. And that's it for my presentation.
Sorry. All right. Any questions? So I have one. I guess I'll just jump right in. So when I was reading the application, it sounds like the funds requested mostly are for paying for supplies and facilitation of these events in the pumpkin carving?
No,
Okay.
Most of the money is for the newsletter mailing.
Okay.
Printing and mailing.
Sure.
And then, and also for the text messaging service.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Just for further clarification, so it's really for marketing, just as your description has then, for the most part.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's mainly, as I was thinking it through, I was thinking, wow, if we do get a lot more people at our events, we're going to need to we will need extra money because our funds are designed for a lot more people. So that was why that team building is added. But really, I'm in communication with someone who I know who is with the Experiential Leadership Institute, and she might actually donate her services. So we wouldn't be asking for reimbursement for that.
Okay, great. All right, any other questions? No? Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
All right, on to the Latino Academy of Workforce Development. Okay, so should we just skip over for now? Okay, well, if they show up later, we can maybe work them in. Yeah, I guess we'll step on to the Madison Reading Project.
Hello. Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. You want to introduce yourself? Looking for, oh, yep. My name is Deirdre. I'm this is my coworker Rowan. We're the co-executive directors of Madison Reading Project. I oversee the programs and operations side of the organization. And Rowan is our founder and
oversees fundraising, development, marketing, etc.
Communications. This is so lovely.
Yeah.
So we are here representing Madison Reading Project. We are celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year. Our mission is to connect our community with free books and literacy resources that ignite a love for reading, and also that affirm and reflect the identity of young readers. We work with over...
Let me go to the next slide.
Oh, next slide, please.
Thank you.
We work primarily through community partners and educators in the community. We work with over 200 schools and community organizations annually. Last year, we gave out around 124,000 books, and work with around 100. We estimate that we work with around 100,000 children a year.
Next slide.
We have a variety of programs that we offer in the community. We serve Dane County, and we serve children ages birth through 18. I'm highlighting a few of the programs that we provide books for educators. So our classroom library initiative helped diversify classroom libraries. We have large number of early literacy partnerships through our My First Pages program, including Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, school-age literacy programs, including our STEAM program that we work with neighborhood centers in the county, and we also work directly with schools and lots of after-school programs to provide free books and programming. And then what we call community collaborations, as the majority of the number of those 200 plus organizations that we work with. We collaborate with hundreds of organizations each year at community events. You mentioned Parks Alive. So we are out and about everywhere supporting other nonprofits that work with kids and also schools, especially those that are working with kids who might need access to the books that we are providing. And last but not least, our Big Red Reading Bus is our mobile service. So we have a free book bus, and we are adding to our fleet this May with a larger, more accessible bus. Next slide, please. The program that we're requesting funds for is our free book fair program. We are focusing, most of our services, all of our services focus on youth development, specifically literacy and igniting a love for reading. All of the priority neighborhoods listed would be served through this program, in addition to other areas in Dane County. So it's a larger project, and this is a piece. The outcomes will be giving kids access to books, igniting a love for reading, something that we get to witness through this program, and giving kids more access to books that reflect their unique identities and also their linguistic diversity. We provide books in many languages other than English, and want to make sure that that's represented as well. We also, this program, one of the big benefits is connecting people in the community with our other resources. We serve birth to 18, so we like connecting with families and with educators to, spread the word about all the other programs that we run, to make sure that everybody that wants a book can get one. Next slide, please. The program started last spring. It's wildly popular and requested by educators. So the fun of a book fair without the financial burden to families, and it's just a no pressure situation, and all kids get to participate equally. Schools love the program. Love the pilot. We get to connect with educators and create connections between our organization and the schools. And also the excitement around getting new books is really awesome, and giving kids ownership over their reading journey. Something just for them. So, and all the teachers and librarians and school staff that come through also get to select books to build their own personal or classroom collections. So the schools that Fitchburg residents attend, we gather, will be Leopold Elementary, which is a school we're focusing on in our strategic program plan this year. We work with the Wisconsin Youth Company after school program, and also the staff and administration at Leopold. Also wanting to expand to Chavez, Orchard Ridge, Hegel, and then Southside, Badger Rock, and Cherokee as well. And then the Verona area schools also that would be served by this program would be Sugar Creek and Country View Elementary in Verona. Next slide. Thank you. I guess that's it. Questions?
I might have missed this part. So, funds that you're requesting, would they go more to purchasing more books, or just like to run the program in general? Obviously, you got gas and things of that nature.
Yeah, the major cost of the programs and all of the programs that we run, essentially 50% of our operating budget is books. So yes, majority of the grant funds would be for the books themselves. We do source high interest and really high quality books that kids are excited about. So we do try to spend as much money as we can on the books themselves.
Thank you.
Okay.
This may just be a typo, but I'm looking at the spreadsheet that we all got sent out, and this spreadsheet says that your focus area is neighborhood and community building as opposed to education. So I guess I'm just kind of curious, like your focus area is education?
It is. That was probably a typo. I wouldn't say that our programs don't encourage community building. This particular one is in schools and directly benefits education and kids and literacy.
My hair.
Apologies for the typo.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. All right. I see our friends from the Latino Latino Academy of Workforce Development are here. Sorry we swapped your positions, but welcome. Come on up and tell us what you're all about.
Thank you very much. And we do have a PowerPoint presentation that is
on its way.
Perfect. Okay. Is it ready? Yeah. Okay, it's ready. Anyway, so thank you very much, and thank you very much for your service to the city of Fitchburg, and thank you for everything that Latino Academy Workforce Development. We have received funding since 2018. So we are very, very grateful. Your funding has helped for Latino Academy to become a program that supported 400 individuals all the way to now being able to support in the neighborhood of 2,500 individuals in South Central Wisconsin. We can go to the next slide. My name is Baltasar de Anda Santana, and I have with me Pab Rodriguez, who is our administrator at the Latino Academy. Next one. So Latino Academy, if you look into the mission, and you have helped us to be able to accomplish this mission, is to advance opportunities to ensure that individuals and families thrive socially, economically, and civically. And your funding throughout the years have supported us for us to be able to do this in the city of Fitchburg. The Latino Academy, we have 3 different programs. We have education, we have workforce development, and leadership and wellness. And your funding has helped us in this application that we are also, applying again, is for that to continue supporting our GED program in Spanish and our CDL program that has been very, very successful. Part of our education program, we have ESL classes, we have GED, we have computer classes. Part of our workforce development, we have transportation, manufacturing, construction, IT, and then part of the leadership and wellness, we have a bilingual leadership program that has been successful, a mentorship program for women in the Latino women in the workplace as well. Next. And getting to, what the application that, what we are applying for, increasing Fitchburg workforce training opportunities. I think that's very, very important for us to continue providing those opportunities, make sure that our folks get work-related in education, that they get the certified skills training that they need. This program will serve, just like we have done before, the Fitchburg residents who are mainly from the North Fish Hatchery Priority Neighborhood, and we also serve some of the other neighborhoods, and I'll come to that later. Based on our 2023 enrollment numbers and current projections for 2024, we anticipate serving at least 60 Fitchburg adult residents who reside in the priority neighborhood through our Spanish language GED and CDL programs. And one thing that I just want to notice here is that these are adult residents, but if we think about all of the families that are going to be able to be served, children and the whole family unit, the whole households. Next. The purpose, I think, just repeating a little bit of what I mentioned before, making sure that we provide a cultural competent training in the GD area, but more important, in the CDL area. We are the only ones that provide a CDL training as part of a nonprofit, and we are the only ones who provide a CDL training that is bilingual, where we are able to have, currently, as we speak, we have a class of individuals who are receiving this bilingual CDL program that otherwise they will not be able to get these credentials. So, unfortunately, we are their only option. I wish there was most opportunity. Many of our participants, they come to the program making $17 an hour. They graduate, and they get a job that will place them in $30 an hour plus benefits. Next. just to mention, and some of this information is taken from the grant that we submitted. We have the different neighborhoods: Verona Road West, Belmar Residence on the park, Southdale, and then the area that we traditionally had served the most of our participants, which is the North Fish Hatchery Road. The whole budget for the work that we are doing in this area is $48,989, and we are requesting a total of $15,000. Next. These are our outcomes, and I'm not going to read through all of that, but the first outcome is we anticipate that at least 80% of our Fitchburg students will earn their CDL. We continue achieving 100% completion rate in the last year. We'll make sure that those folks who get their CDL, they get put in good employment opportunities. We also want to make sure that 75% of our Fitchburg GED program participants will earn their GED in the program period, and also for them to be able to advance in job readiness. It's not just about getting a CDL. It's about getting a job, it's having a career, a well-established career, and the same thing with our GED. Not just getting the GED, but also what are you going to do once you finish that GED, and obviously remove those barriers. It's important for us again to have that in Spanish, the GED, the CDL, because we see that those are some barriers. Next, and I'm almost done. Next one, graduates will obtain a job that pays a minimum of $17 an hour plus great benefits. Many of our students, especially in our CDL program, they are making $25 to $34 an hour. Those are jobs that really, really put people out of poverty. Many of our students make more money that we have a number of students in the highway department that are making right now, after a number of years, $35,000 a year. I actually want to recruit them to teach at Latino Academy, but they say, no, you don't pay us enough. And that's what we want. Next. And then, the graduates will earn increased wages in current place of employment. It's about for them to continue advancing. It's for them, good for them to continue increasing workplace responsibilities. Next. I already mentioned some of that information, 60 Fitchburg residents, but and then also our target to participants is 150 adults, age 18 or older, but we are really concentrating in 60 participants who are the ones who are going to be getting enrolled in the class. Next, and we're almost done. So I'm not going to read through that. The only thing that I have to show you is one of our students, Alan Tejeda, who got his CDL at his GED at Latino Academy. They moved into getting his CDL. He wanted to get his CDL for many, many years. He wanted to be a supervisor at his current workplace, which is KS Energy. His boss keeps telling him, you have to get your CDL. CDL costs $6,000 at Latino Academy. They don't have to pay because of your support. He obtained his CDL, and now he's making $33 per hour, and he's a supervisor. So those are the results that we are looking for to continue having with the support that you will hopefully provide for next year. And I think that's all. Thank you. Any questions?
I don't have a question, but a note on the grant log. It looks like there's a typo for the North Fish Hatchery funding for the Latino Academy. I think it's supposed to be 8,000 rather than 5.
Yeah, it will be 8,000.
Yeah. Sure.
I have a couple of questions for the presenters.
Yes.
We'll see how much time we have. One question: are your educators from Fitchburg?
So we have a number of instructors from Fitchburg. Not all of them, but yeah. And one of the things that we do many times is some of our graduates become the instructors as well. So yeah, that's one of the things that we do.
Wonderful. Okay. I am very curious as to your perspectives on the ethical questions around trucking. So I supported funding this program last year, and most likely will again this year. But trucking companies don't treat truckers great.
No.
And spending money on diesel fuels is maybe not wonderful.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts around providing this CDL program?
Yes, so I think right now, one thing that is important for us is the fact that there is the need and the opportunity for our participants to be placed in good jobs. Me, like you, I sometimes, we want to partner with employers who treat well their participants. That's one of the things that we want to continue doing. It's not about just getting them a job. Are they going to be treated with respect? One of the things that we are looking into is how can we make sure that I'll just give you a quick example. There are some companies that will bring folks and they will get them their CDL with the commitment that they have to be there for 3 years. I think that's not a good practice. So one of the things that Latino Academy does, they come and they have a GED with us, they get their GED, they can go to any company. If they don't like it, they can go to the next one. We actually have students that we have taken out of employment because they say, Baltasar, or our staff, they want me to stay there because they pay for my education. We don't go with that because we know that, that's really taking advantage of the employees. So this is why we exist, so our students can have the opportunity to go with any company they want. And when it comes to diesel fuel, as a former biker and someone who supports green energy, we have a green energy program at the Latino Academy that is in, together with some of the programs that we have is precisely for us to teach our students. I forgot to mention something. We have our transportation accelerator program where we teach our students new ways of sustainability. So yeah, they have to use diesel, but we need to start thinking when the time comes for them to start using electric trucks. Obviously, they're going to be super, super expensive. And I think for us, things have to move from one place to another. Jobs are out there. I really want our community to take advantage of those jobs in that regard.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, any other questions? No, see any? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, the next group on the list is, let's see here, we skipped around there, is Omega School. Welcome.
Welcome. Yeah, my name is Oscar Morales, and I've been the executive director of Omega School for 30 years. And I've been fortunate to work with thousands of individuals. And what's different about Omega is our students come not only with the lack of a high school diploma, is they often have a lot of other challenges, whether it's homelessness, post-traumatic stress syndrome, childhood trauma, test anxiety. And what we try to do is individualize the instruction. That means that we provide instructor that works side by side with them. If they need more support, we find a volunteer to sit with them and kind of walk them through a way so they can prepare for the GED exam, one test at a time. We try to make it a very quiet and supportive environment. And we don't serve a lot of numbers, but we serve those most in need of this GED, HSCD credential, and we do it both in English and Spanish. As you're well aware, the GED in our society serves as a key access point, whether it's post-secondary education, higher education or apprenticeship. So during my 30 years there, we helped close to 5,000 people get their credential. I personally got to know each and every one of them. As the director, I meet and interview because I want to get them to understand I make a big investment in time and energy and resources, and I'm going to give them 175%. So if we get 10% from them, we're actually a long ways down the road. So this is our first application to this grant, and I know one of the members kind of notes that there's been groups that have been here before. This is part of a larger investment that we're doing in Fitchburg. I'm a former board member of both the Boys and Girls Club and the McKenzie Regional Training Center. So we're in partnership with them. We have a youth focused grant that we'll be doing to provide GED, and hopefully we'll get funded for that. We're part of a group called the Fund for Women, and we have a targeted program in Dane County, and we're working with the Fitchburg Library. And then I've been a founding member of the Fitchburg Teen Center, helping Alderman Joe Maldonado with his work. So this is not a one-off. This is very intentional of asking a request at this time to really expand what we're trying to already do in Fitchburg. The only other thing I want to say is I was a big brother for 7 years, and I saw big brothers, big sisters. I've done a lot of things, but that's probably the best thing. I raised 4 children, 2 that went to Ivy League schools, but being a big brother was the best thing that I ever done. My little aide, Fabian, who graduated high school last year, and as a 4th grader, I never met anyone who cared about the world so much. He was worried about all these wars and everything going on. And so we learned how to play Uno so that he could learn to focus on the here and now. And once he beat me, I got mad, but I still participated with him. That's about it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?
I see here that you're requesting funding for a rental space. Can you tell me more about that plan?
Well, I'm going to have to yell at my grant writer, but no, I think what it was is we're going to have our programming here at the and we just wanted to account for if there's some additional charge. Our facility is right across the belt line on Badger Road, but I'll make sure that she doesn't do that again.
So can you talk to me a little bit about the numbers? Because like you said, it's quite a small number, but then the request is $10,000. So I'd love to understand more about, okay, let me get you the exact numbers. Fitchburg residents within priority neighborhoods, 4 children, 16 adults. That's actually larger than I thought. And then Fitchburg residents outside, 1 child, 4 adults. So that's 25 students and $10,000. So yeah, can you tell me more about, are these existing students? Are these new students that you're going to recruit?
So as I mentioned, we're working with both the Fitchburg Library to do recruitment with the McKenzie Regional Training Center, people that go there looking to get an apprenticeship but don't have the requisite GED. We also have, like I mentioned, 5,000 graduates. Young people get their information from their peers. They don't get their information from old people like me. So our graduates are embedded. They go to parties I don't get invited to. They go to bars that I don't frequent. So we're connected. We're just focusing now on in Fitchburg as part of our larger kind of effort. And it's very, our program, we make the program fit the student, whatever they might need, whether it's, paying for a haircut because they're going for a job, or boots, pay for the exam. It's $150 for a lot of students. that's what stops them from going. So it's very, very intensive, and it's intensive is very expensive, but if it works, it's a well worth the investment.
One of the reasons that I was asking that was because I was on your website, and it looks like the English form for accepting students is not accepting. It says no longer accepting responses. So are you only accepting Spanish-speaking students right now?
Well, we just had a new web design, so I need to pay a little more attention to people that are kind of helping me out here. But no, we do provide services in English and Spanish, and we just had a new web design. I just paid them the other day, so just gotta pay a little more attention. So they'll get a phone call in the morning, and they'll be corrected by the afternoon. And hi, Caitlin. I see Caitlin's not with us.
Right, yeah. I guess my own, this might be in the paperwork. I'm trying to look through it, but so I'm seeing, as Ari said, looks like 25 people are expected to be benefiting from the use of the grant funds through the program. Can you give me an idea of what percentage of the total number of estimated people that you'll be that will be going through the program this year?
Yeah, so we will have 25 participants, and then we hope to have 15 graduate out of 25, and then between 5 and 7 pass their first exam. There's a series of 6 exams, and part of it is getting them, finding success, and then whenever they're ready, whether it's lose a job, move out of the house, get divorced, they can come back and restart without having to do much. They're welcome back.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that answers my question.
As people transition into adulthood, it's not a clean step, and there's way too many obstacles.
Agreed. Okay. Any other questions?
I just want to see what the process will be then for updating the grant request, because it just says $2,000 for personnel, $5,500 for GED study materials and test fees, and then $2,500 for rental space, which that results in the $10,000 total project expense. So if it's not $2,500 for the rental space, then I don't know if that means the application is requesting $7,500 instead of $10,000, or Deanna or someone.
Is that something that you could get to us relatively quickly, the updated?
Yeah. I'll meet with her in the morning, and I'll have an answer by noon. So we'll update things.
Please get it to us as quickly as possible. The committee is going to be doing their reviews here in the next week. So if it's all possible, if you can get some updated materials for me by the end of the day.
Okay, no, that shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. Excellent. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay. Next up on the list is River Food Pantry.
They're having some technical difficulties, so I don't know if we could skip ahead.
Yeah, we can step ahead
someone
and
else available.
circle back around. We've done that successfully once, so let's try it again. Okay. Second Harvest Food Bank.
And we might be too early for them.
Oh yeah, if we're skipping ahead too much. Okay, well, I guess we'll just keep going down the list, and then we'll circle back around as we hit the end here. Okay, the road home. Okay, we've got someone online. Excellent. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Angela Smith. I'm the Grants and Partnership Manager for the Road Home, and along with me is Megan.
Hi, everyone. I'm Megan Salzwedel, and I'm the Development Director at the Road Home. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having us. We're thrilled to be here. I'm going to give a quick overview of the road home, and then we'll dive more into our project that we requested funding for. But the Road Home Dane County is a nonprofit organization located in Madison on the south side. Right off of Wingra Drive is where our main office is. And we have been around since 1999. And our organization, the goal and work of our organization is to provide opportunities for homeless children and their families to achieve self-determined goals and affordable, stable housing. So we operate 13 different housing programs, Heart Room being one of them, that support families with children moving from homelessness into safe, stable housing. Next slide, please.
So the Heart Room Expansion Project will assist us in enrolling one additional family into the Heart Room program. Heart Room is a 3-year supportive housing program that provides flexible rent subsidies and wraparound case management services to families with young children, like Megan said, experiencing homelessness or severe housing instability. Heart Room currently serves 11 families comprising of 15 adults and 39 children living on Madison's South and Southwest neighborhoods. This expansion will focus on specifically on the Southdale and the North Fish Hatchery neighborhoods. The cost to enroll a family, the average cost to enroll a family into the 3-year program is $21,000. We've already been able to secure $6,000, so are seeking $15,000 from the Healthy Neighborhoods grant. Next slide.
So we just want to highlight the partner approach that is Heart Room. It was developed in 2019 as a pilot program to serve families who might not be eligible to receive services through other homeless services systems in our community. So it is a partnership between the Road Home. We provide the case management for the families and the supportive services. Orchard Ridge United Church of Christ, which is a church on Madison's southwest side, and they have been the initial funder of the program, the rental subsidies for the program. Joining Forces for Families, which are community-based or neighborhood-based social workers who are wonderful resources for the families in Heart Room. And then the Early Childhood Initiative of Rise, Wisconsin, and they provide support regarding early childhood development, parent-child relationships, and other community resources as needed. It was identified that Heart Room, because it serves families that might not be able to access resources through other homeless services programs, that might be because they might have mixed immigration status amongst their family, or might be experiencing doubled up homelessness, which typically doesn't qualify for other services always. We wanted to bring together all of these partners so we could serve the families in the most holistic way. Next slide, please.
Or severely burdened by their current housing costs. Families are also much more likely to be BIPOC, non-white, have limited English proficiency, have mixed immigration status, a caregiver with long-term disability, or have a caregiver child with serious mental health concerns. Families meet with their advocates on a weekly basis to work on self-determined goals, access any resources available, and then discuss budgeting. Next slide, please. So this slide shows some of the main outcomes of the families who have graduated from the program. Additionally, 100% of the families had improved transportation access. So maybe purchasing a car, getting their driver's license, accessing public transportation. 100% had improved school engagement among the children in the families. So relationships with their teachers, maybe participating in enrichment activities at school. 80% improved financial literacy, opening bank accounts, improving their credit scores, etc. 80% improved their mental health among one or more of the family members and increased their access to the resources available to them. 40% completed an education or a training program, and one family actually was able to purchase a home. Next slide.
So, as I mentioned earlier, Heart Room did begin in 2018 as a pilot program. And since then, we've been able to expand the program to serve more families. As Angela mentioned, we're currently serving 11 families in the program. We completed an expansion campaign last year, which allowed us to move our caseload numbers up. It was originally 8, and now we have the capacity to serve 12 families at a time. But as families exit the program, we are working to garner partnerships and financial support to fill those empty spots in the program. So 2 families are graduating from Heart Room this summer, which is amazing news. We're really excited for them. But we are working to secure funds that would allow us to enroll then 2 new families in the program. So again, as Angela mentioned, we have secured $6,000, the cost of a family's 3 years. The rental subsidy for a family's 3 years in the program is $21,000. So we are requesting from this grant $15,000 to cover, combined with that $6,000 to cover one family's 3-year rental subsidy in the program. Next slide, please. Any questions?
Can you tell me a little bit more about the housing situation that you're able to find for some of these families initially? Right?
Sure. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, just like the first housing situation that the family is able to get into right after applying to your program and getting accepted.
Sure. So many of our families already are in an apartment. Some are in housing search, and like Megan said, are doubled up. So living with friends, living with another family member, that type of thing. So our advocates work really hard with them to access affordable housing, find them a place to move into. If they're already in housing, they're just really struggling to make ends meet, right? So there could be a job issue; they just can't make their rent. So this program is really designed to work with them over these 3 years, and the rent subsidies are unique in the fact that they start out with a higher amount in the first year, and then it gradually works its way down to a less amount the second year, and then even less the third year. So with their housing advocate, they're working really to budget and understand what they need to do in order to try to make that rent each month. And it's up to them to be able to decide how much they use. They have a set amount each year, and there's an average, but depending on what their situation is, they can use more of that or less if they're able to afford more of their rent, and they can't borrow from the next year. So we really work hard with them to know what they have to spend and what they can use from the program to better, so they can better budget.
Okay. Any other questions? No one? All right.
I'll ask.
Caitlin, yes.
I would ask a question, but I think it may be beyond your scope. But I'm gonna ask it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious, as someone who lives in a high density neighborhood, if you have looked at the impact on the neighbors, or sort of the ripple effects of one family having stable housing, because I see that impact all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm curious if you all have any support for that.
Can you explain a little bit more what you mean? I guess I'm not quite sure what your question is. Sorry.
That's okay. I've noticed an impact on an entire neighborhood or an entire apartment building when
Sure.
one family has stable housing, because they then often become a resource for the neighborhoods? Again, if it's beyond your scope, I'm really
Yeah,
sorry. I wanted to
I
give that.
don't know if I have an answer to that, actually. I guess I haven't. Before this role, I was a housing advocate for Heart Rooms, so I have a little bit insight with our families that I've worked with. But I don't know the answer to that. I'm sorry. I don't. Banga, do you have any?
I don't have any like quantitative answer to that. I
Yeah.
think like qualitative, like off the top of my head, like I can say that like having neighbors that are healthy and thriving and, you know, doing really wonderful things with their lives impacts the neighborhood. I think we all know that. Healthy neighbors equals healthy neighborhoods. But I don't have any like data to back that up, unfortunately. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're going to walk back up the list now, and I think head back to Second Harvest Food Bank because we have someone on for that.
Yes, good evening.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you for
Welcome.
the opportunity.
All right. Yeah, thank you very much. Go ahead.
Okay, here you go. Okay, there we are. Thank you. As I said, I'm with Second Harvest Food Bank. My name is Lori Papard. My role at Second Harvest is the community representative for Dane County. So I work with all of our partners and our mobile pantry program, primarily on the west side of the county, but I will help anyone within the county. I also have another partner. The project that we are looking for support with, and you can forward the slides. Do I do that or? There we go. Thank you. Is our mobile food pantry program. And the mobile food pantries are very, very targeted distributions of food, which we do in 16 counties. We have a total of 27 mobile food pantries. And the purpose of them is to provide healthy, free food on a regular schedule. We do not require an ID for the food. We offer choice for the food. In addition, they're very targeted in particular neighborhoods. And the two we provide food, the two locations within the Fitchburg area and specifically within the Healthy Neighborhoods target areas are what we call Rimrock Road and Allied Dunmarsh mobile food pantries. Those were, so the locations were targeted based on the USDA, what do they call it? The USDA Food Research Atlas. So those specific neighborhoods were targeted for both low access and low income. So low access to any kind of food, either retail or through a food pantry. So they really matched up very well with that. And we do partner with local volunteer organizations in all of those locations because as the representative, I could never do it without the incredible support of other volunteer groups and the collaboration of organizations like Joining Forces for Families, Allied Fresh Organization, UW Grow. So they're very strategic when there is not another access to food. We also provide food share representatives at our mobile food pantries, bilingual, and there is a very high demand for bilingual information and food to people in neighborhoods where English is not the first language. And you can forward, please. So I have put a little symbol where our food pantries are located. These two mobile pantries have 4 distributions a month, and where the little flower thing is where they are located. So one is at Highland Manor in the storm shelter off Manor Drive, Seven Oaks Apartments on Moreland, Southdale Park on Deer Valley Road, as well as the one over in Renaissance next to the Boys and Girls Club. So that's accessible to both Belmar Renaissance and Verona Road West via the frontage road. At mobile food pantries, folks are given food for about 40 pounds per household, and a household can pick up for their other family members or other friends that cannot access the food pantry, you can either walk up or drive through, any of those options. In addition, we are serving about 1,000 families about 1,000 households every month. No, I'm sorry, I've been sick. 1,000 individuals each month, and at each time we see about 150 people at these mobile pantries. I would like to add that these mobile pantries are offered twice a month. Most of our mobile pantries in our 16 counties occur one time per month, but these were just considered very necessary for the folks living there. Also very transient neighborhoods, as I'm sure you're well aware. You can go ahead and forward. This is just the information about the Rimrock Road, as we call it, mobile pantry, and it aligns with those two neighborhoods, the Southdale and North Fitch Hatchery target neighborhoods. And this is the schedule for that particular one. And then if you forward to the next slide, it shows the Ally Dunn Marsh Mobile Pantry and its location and frequency. And I'm happy to take any questions regarding these two food distributions.
So is this just to clarify, is this to expand the program or continue it?
Yeah, the mobile pantries are just always steady, so that the funding will go directly to these two mobile pantries. We can earmark it for these, and it's to basically continue. We do offer eggs, milk, which we purchase, in addition to fresh produce. Much of it is local and at farmers market prices for the produce. We always have a protein meat or a canned protein product, as well as other ready meals, which also often have to be purchased. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
I have just a general question on our grant log per the application. It looks like the neighborhood funding is listed as North Fish Hatchery Road being 0, but it sounds like from the presentation that the Rimrock Road location does fall within the zone of North Fish Hatchery for services.
That's what it looked like to me, yes.
Okay.
At the Southdale location.
Sure. And just from a clarification standpoint, understanding that neighborhood would, have at least some access to services from that. So technically, some of the grant funding would affect that neighborhood. I think might be important for us to make sure we keep in mind if we're looking at balancing grant funding. To make sure all the neighborhoods get some services, I guess. That's only my clarifying question, and I think that sounds like a good answer, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No? Okay, well, thank you very much. And I think, are we continuing to walk back up to River Food Pantry? Do we have them? No?
She was on the phone for a second.
Okay. Okay.
You have Amanda.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm here with the food pantry.
Okay.
Oh, you do? Oh, awesome. Great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes, Scott and Deanna, thank you very much. I'm not sure the technical difficulties I'm having. I think I'm a bad millennial today.
I'm just going to go and grab your slide, if you'll just give me a sec.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Excellent. All right, all ready for you?
Okay, great. Well, thanks so much. Yeah, really excited to get to share about this and this opportunity. My name's Helen Osborne Senatus, and I'm the Director of Operations at the River Food Pantry since 2021. And at the River Food Pantry, our mission is to provide the food, resources, and faith needed to build a stronger, more fully nourished community. Since 2006, the River has focused on reducing food insecurity among low-income and underserved communities throughout Dane County while promoting sustainable and waste-free food systems. The River is South Central Wisconsin's busiest food pantry. Each week, we serve well over 2,500 people, and in 2023, we served over 17,000 unique individuals, and we serve all of Dane County. For this project, our project name is the Munch Mobile Meals in Southdale Park Community Gathering. And the program areas are accessible care for all, children's educational achievement, and healthy lifestyles. And just, to share about the slide in front of you, those are just some snapshots of our mobile meal program, Munch. And so the program, we pull up directly to a neighborhood the same time, same spot, same day of the week. And anybody who is available and looking for a meal is welcome to take one. There's no registration, so reducing that barrier and making it more accessible. And that's just some recent photos of our vehicle out and about in the community. But in our priority neighborhoods to be served through this are the Southdale Park, North Fish Hatchery Road, and Road West. So our project overview and our purpose is that Munch delivers free, healthy meals to children and adult community members living in low-income and underserved neighborhoods. We seek to address two key issues related to food insecurity, which is reliable access and nutritional content. Each meal contains protein. We have a vegetarian and a meat option, and fresh produce and food to enjoy in the moment, as well as fresh produce to take home and include in a meal at home. We currently operate in 4 locations throughout Fitchburg, including a stop at Southdale, stops at the Pines and the Fairways apartment complexes, and our newest stop in Fitchburg is the New Fountains Apartments. This summer, we're looking at expanding our route in Fitchburg and adding a stop in the Allied Drive area. And if funding allows, we will organize a community gathering and resource event this summer. We are planning this to take place at Southdale Park, and it'll be a time to increase awareness about both the river services and those of other community organizations, all set to happen at Southdale Park with fun activities and delicious food, of course. So far, our confirmed attendees for this event include the Fitchburg Police Department and Fire Department, a City Council member, UW Healthy Kids, Reach Dane, Operation Fresh Start, Fitchburg Public Library, Boys and Girls Club, Dane County and Briar Patch Youth Services. And then we'll continue to invite other agencies as funding allows and as the event more logistics are worked out. So our project outcomes are to reduce food insecurity and improve nutrition for residents of the designated priority areas in Fitchburg by providing the free nutritious meals at locations easily accessible to underserved communities. We estimate that we'll provide around 4,000 meals to at least 300 unique individuals. And also our second outcome would be to increase area collaboration to provide more holistic support for residents of priority neighborhoods by organizing this summer event in Southdale Park, which again, we've already got a good start on, and just, working to bring it all together. Yes, any questions? I'd love to hear any questions.
I have a question. So we've heard from a lot of food pantries today, and I see you have a line item similar to many of the other applicants for food, $10,000. $720, and then another for community event food, $1,000. Where is the money actually going? Like, who are your suppliers? Are these actual farmers? Like, who's getting, I don't know. There's probably at least $100,000 being requested of the city of Fitchburg right now for just food. And I want to know where that money would be going if we paid all of it. Like, who's getting the $100,000?
Sure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course, no, great question. Well, I mean, a piece of it is that, just like all parts of inflation, food, the cost of food has increased as well. And the demand for services at food pantries has increased. Already this year, we're seeing, in February of this year, we served 48% more households than we did in February of 2023. So just across the board, we're having to bring more food in to meet demand. And we work to get food through donations, but we also are purchasing more. And we're strategic about purchasing to make sure that we can get the most food and the higher, the best quality possible within the budget. And so we purchase from a variety of places. Sometimes it's Second Harvest as the food bank in town. Sometimes it's large wholesale vendors. Sometimes it's local farmers if we're looking for produce and we want to support local as much as possible. It just depends on the item and then just price comparison.
Can you tell me just the tiniest bit more about these large wholesale vendors? Like, are you talking about like big multinational corporations? Like, I'm such a novice at understanding how food pantries get their food. Can you just help me the smallest bit here with that, what you said
Sure.
about wholesale vendors?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Sure. So with wholesale vendors, it might be some of the same vendors that local grocery retailers are using, but it's the chance to be able to get maybe a whole pallet of an item at a much reduced rate compared to a retail price. And so, some wholesale vendors that we work with, thinking of a handful that we work with, I don't know their reach. I don't know their scope if they are international. I'm not sure. But, again, we work with produce, especially, we focus local. And we have great relationships with local farmers. And in the summer during the Wisconsin growing season, we're able to include local Wisconsin, oftentimes Dane County grown produce on the munch route. But with the wholesale vendors, it is just looking for, all right, if I'm going to get a whole pallet of peanut butter, where can I get it at the most affordable price so I can stretch my budget as far as possible?
For smaller, we actually try to buy it from local grocers as well. Like Luna's grocery is in our neighborhood. And so if we can purchase, some more culturally inclusive foods from Luna's and the price is competitive, that's where we'll go. Or we might go to Woodman's, or there's a new grocer that's international on University Avenue that's opening up, that's a Turkish family. So we will try to purchase. But we're a much smaller pantry, and so the same answer isn't for all applicants today.
And if I can add to that, thank you so much for bringing that up. When there are items that I'm looking for a smaller quantity and they are more specific, such as to support a certain type of cultural cuisine, we also work with local retailers to purchase through them. Just if the woman who just spoke talked about Luna's, we've been in discussions with them. There's a market up here, Enrique's, on the north side of Madison that we purchase through. We've been to Istanbul Market to purchase items through when we're looking for things on a smaller quantity. Then we do, again, try and keep as many dollars local as possible.
Thank you. That was enlightening, for sure. Okay. Any other questions?
That's my question.
Yes.
Very basic question. I just want to know what is your max number of meals you try to provide at each location?
I guess we don't have a maximum number in mind. We just, we count the meals at each location, at each stop, and we take out a minimum of 200 meals per route. And then as as the year changes, or if we know that school's out and probably more people will be home, we'll increase that. But we set the route for Munch based on community feedback. And with Fitchburg, that was feedback with the school systems, with folks from the public library, people who are already, in the neighborhood. So we could expand this program that we've had a lot of success with throughout Madison since it started in 2016. And so yes, with the number of meals, it's just we pack enough to be able to serve everybody who comes out and stops at the truck.
And kind of follow up to that question, for those meals that aren't used, the route of Tuesday, are the meals usually created to be able to be used for the following day, or does that create waste if all the meals aren't used up that day?
Sure, I love that question. Yes, I mean, food waste is a huge issue that we're very cognizant of and working against. So typically, say Tuesday, all the meals on Munch are not used. All the sandwiches on Wednesday, we will actually use those sandwiches on site at the river, and so nothing is really more than a day or two at the max past when it was made. So we'll use those sandwiches for one of our on-site programs. And then every morning we have 2 shifts of volunteers come to prepare fresh meals for that day's Munch route.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Thank you very much. And
thank you.
We are good. Okay. Last but not least, I think we have Try for Schools online, and we are ready for you. Welcome.
Good evening. I apologize, my camera is not on. The Wi-Fi here is not fantastic. My name is Amanda Merrick. I'm the director of Try for Schools. We're a nonprofit that is devoted to supporting the well-being of kids both inside and outside the classroom. We do that through events, after-school programs, financial assistance, and grants for schools. So the goal of our events and programs is to really just promote a positive relationship with physical activity. And we know that relates heavily to both bettering mental and emotional health. More than that, we then extend that impact beyond the kids participating in our program by directly pushing all of the funding back to the kids' schools, to their physical education departments. If you want to go to the next slide. All right, so we applied for our training team program. The goal of this program is that we're aiming to get all kids, regardless of race, gender, socioeconomic status, ability, really just engaged in physical activity and a healthy lifestyle. So students participate in an 8 to 10 week after school program. And the goal is to complete one of our youth multi-sport events. But more importantly, the program is using swimming, biking, and running as a means to just teach kids lifelong skills. And we focus on mindfulness, goal setting, resiliency, teamwork, confidence. You could go to the next slide. So addressing directly to this grant, there's been a lot of research that is confirming that there's this positive correlation between physical activity and mental emotional health. But unfortunately, individuals in minority and low-income communities, they often lack access to these fun and safe environments. That's why we strategically target schools in low income and high minority demographic areas. So we recognize that most of these kids probably can't afford to participate. And that's why we offer a no questions asked financial aid policy. And actually 40% of the participants in our program utilize that option. So the training team program this year, we're actually hosting across 21 different sites. 7 of those sites fall into the H&I priority neighborhoods. I have those all listed up there. So what's unique about our programs is they're actually hosted directly at schools, which really kind of eliminates that barrier of transportation. The kids leave school and they're at practice. So those schools in the priority neighborhoods include Leopold, Midvale, Wright, Glacier Edge, Sugar Creek, Glen Stevens, and then over the summer, we host a program at the Allied Learning Center. So this year, we'll be serving roughly 230 kids in the priority neighborhoods. It's 400 kids outside of the neighborhoods, and then an additional 800 non-Fitchburg residents. Could go ahead and go to the next slide. Our final slide here. So I thought it would be good to address our alignment with the HNI program. Initially, I was going to go through and kind of talk about each one, but actually we had some really interesting things happen. So in 2022, Sam Houston State University, they conducted a survey on our after-school training teams. And we just received all the results back. So what it was is that they interviewed 12 different families before and after our training team program, and then really just assessed the impact on the overall health and behavior of the kids. So there were a lot of different common themes noted, but the major ones included that our programs gave people opportunity because of the financial aid option. It noted that there's the importance of physical activity. It also noted about anti-sport specialization, and then it addressed how important our non-triathlon related curriculum is. So it was exciting to see that those results were really affirming to everything that we've been trying to do. That we really are making this short and long-term difference in the lives of kids and their families. So I just wanted to end quickly with a quote that was from a parent of a daughter in the program. She was a first-time participant with us. And it just says, she builds a lot of confidence. And we use that as an example for other things when we do something new and it's really scary in the beginning. We've explained that she may not like it now because she feels like she doesn't know how to do it, but she's kept practicing. Now we've seen a large change in the way that she approaches challenges and how she's able to complete her different goals. So really, I just chose this quote because it really kind of demonstrates how our program does more than just give kids the opportunity to be physically active. It really is applying these lessons to their overall growth. That's what I had there. Questions?
I have a quick question. I was looking back through the history of applications, and it looks like Tri-For Schools applied in 2020 and in 2022. And I was just kind of wondering why not other years?
I can't speak to 2020 and before, as I became the director in 2021. And unfortunately, there was some sort of technical issue, but I had submitted an application in 2023, and it was never received by the committee.
Well, thank you for explaining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, any other questions? I don't see any. All right. Well, thank you very much. And we appreciate all of the organizations coming and speaking to us and providing a whole bunch of very enlightening information for us to consider along with the applications. So I guess next up on the agenda would be report from department, if you have anything, Deanna.
If you would just give me a couple minutes, committee, I would just like to let you know the status of the hub. The hub is continuing to move on, and still planning to, we're finalizing the engineering drawings and still planning to release for the bid documents yet in the next couple of months. Then the Verona Road West Teen Center, as you might recall, staff is working with EQT by Design and their team on the next stage of the feasibility study. We are just starting to get our legs underneath us, and so hopefully in the next month we'll be moving into a more active period with that study. I do want to just draw attention to that the position for community development specialist, that's a new position that will be in the planning department, and that position is, the specific role is to implement the Healthy Neighborhoods initiatives and specifically work with this community. So really looking forward to the opportunity to have a new hire to help us all push these programs forward. Like I said, the position is currently open and on the city's website. So if you're aware of anybody that's interested in the position, would like to learn more about it, the city's website under job opportunities is where you can both learn about the position and also apply. So I encourage anyone that's interested. And as always, if there's questions, just you're welcome to reach out to me too. We currently, planning staff is currently also working on the citywide sustainability plan. Happy to share any information if you all are interested in learning a little bit more about that. And then the city is also working on the 2 neighborhood plans, the Greenfield neighborhood plan, and then also our South Stoner neighborhood plan. Just want to keep you all in the loop if you're interested in learning a little bit more about any of all these other planning initiatives. I'm happy to bring some specific information to the committee or just reach out to me. So that's all that I have this evening for staff report.
I have a question for staff. I just, maybe an hour ago, sent an email, and I just kind of wanted to say it here as well. But I'd be interested in the information from, specifically for Big Brothers Big Sisters, but potentially from other applicants as well, their final submissions for past grants. So like basically their success criteria, and then whether they, like their self-evaluation as to whether they met it or not.
Yep, I can certainly make available to you all of the final reports as part of each of the grant application agreements. Each organization that received funding they are required to provide a summary report in addition to receipts and other information, and I will make that available.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Okay, announcements. Do we have any announcements? I don't think so. All right. Well, I think that means that we probably should entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.